Yeah. Uh. Yeah. Yeah.
Yo, what's going on, everyone? Welcome. It's been far too long. Shanair is still up in the Great White North. Matt now has a little white in his beard. He might be Darren's doppelganger. And Kate may or may not be the next manager of the Richmond Ivy. I don't know how this is going to work. Or you could take over Spurs, depending on how that's going to go. That could be fun. But yeah, it's been a while. We haven't recorded in a long time. Some stuff has happened in Richmond. They have completely changed their identity, which is no longer allowed in this country. So, we gotta figure that out. But yeah, how have y'all been? Miss y'all. It was great to see Matt and Kate. It was great to see y'all yesterday.
Yeah, it sucked to see Shanier.
Yeah.
We're starting the crowdfunding now to fly Shanier back every weekend for the Kickers game. So donate.
Well, first, we're still trying to donate to the Mike Foundation.
Yeah. Right. Sorry.
That's what we're donating to first.
Listeners, I need to
Yeah. It's weekends that felt weird without soccer in person. So us sickos are starting to get back into it, going and watching, standing on the sideline of a youth field, watching our mighty Kickers beat up on 18-year-olds, or seeing our academy get beat up by those 18-year-olds, depending on which half you're watching.
Yeah. I ain't gonna lie, man. It was kind of I was excited to get back out there and watch, soccer in person and not like on a TV in a warm, comfortable house. To be outside cold, just having my hands in a jacket like this, standing there. I miss those things. But yeah, it was great to see everyone out there. We can talk about the preseason because they already jumped the schedule, but Matt, I'll start off with you. Like, what were your thoughts on preseason for what you somewhat paid attention to?
So the actual game you're talking about, not like preseason as a whole concept so far.
Yeah. Well, yeah, the actual game.
I thought it was fine. Just to kind of set the table, they were playing Longwood, who is a mediocre, D1, team. We looked it up. I think they went like 5 a lot and a couple ties, last year in the Big South. So not exactly, the highest caliber competition. First half, I think the guys looked pretty, good at. It was what I think there's a good chance we'll be close to the first team, out there in the first half. So you saw your, the old reliables, your Simons, your Emmys, your Dax, some of those guys out there mixed in with some of the new faces that we'll talk about later on, during this. But it was a tale of two halves. The first half, the Kickers looked like a professional team against a mediocre college team, and then nobody came back for the second half. Whole new team. So it was like Pablo, Vaughn, and a bunch of guys I don't think we've ever seen before. Well, we've seen a few of them. Yeah, we've seen a few of them before, but pretty sure they're not supposed to be buying liquor yet. Any of them, and on the back foot in the second half, but like a bunch of us were saying at the game, if that's the group that's ever going to be out there all together at the same time, there's enough other things that have gone wrong that shipping a couple goals against a Longwood team isn't going to matter anyway.
Yeah, if that's the case, we are beyond breaking case of emergency at that point.
Yeah, Ange Postecoglou's Tottenham vibes.
Yeah, speaking on the game for a little bit, Kay, I want to get your thoughts on it. We saw Hayden Anderson, Niels. His last name is escaping me out there. Melvin, a couple of the new guys. Did anyone kind of stand out to you? Like, was it? Oh, okay, I see why
I would say not to start off negatively, but I wouldn't say we've added a considerable amount of height in the offseason. Both Anderson and Espinal were not the tallest players on the pitch, so I don't think that we're going to be. Chandler might still be our all reliable when it comes to knocking in goals with his head, because the fellas on the wings were definitely, but they low center of gravity, looked a little dribbly, so that could be good, taking their men on. Espinal in particular looked like up for it in terms of taking on his man, but his man was obviously a college player, so we'll see how that translates to the league. But that was probably my first takeaway was we didn't necessarily bring in like an Arthur Boschua style player.
Oh no!
I know. So I don't think that we might, our set pieces might still look a little different than your Arsenal set pieces.
Should we put a pause on this right now and actually like talk about the 4 new guys rather than talk about it in the context of the game first?
Yes. So let's go ahead. You know what? Do we want to start off with the guys that have left, or start off with those who are here now?
Talk about the guys who are here now. Who cares about the guys who are gone?
Nah, that's true.
They're gone.
All right. So here are your returnees so far for the Richmond Kickers. You have Hayden Anderson, who's a right back,
Not a
mid.
returning. Dude.
I mean, not returning. God. New signing. I don't know. I'm looking at Alex's list. By the way, shout out to Alex. He writes for us now. A Leawood updater. And I just saw inbound and returning. My apologies. Hayden Anderson, right back / right mid, coming from the Greenville Triumph. You have Darwin Espinal, forward from the Maryland Bobcats. If you need to remember who he is the guy that scored that banger in the U.S. Open Cup against us. You have Melvin Pierre-Louis. He's a forward from FC Motown, also New York International. He was on trial with the team last season. And also you have, and it's funny how everyone said he is Neil's doppelganger, but this is hilarious. Neil Sufrit, I believe that's how you say it.
Seufert.
Seufert? Okay. He signs from FK Gerver. Okay. And he's a
fluent in German, as we all know.
No. So those are the 4 guys that have signed so far. Matt, I'll start off with you. We saw them play yesterday here and there. Who stood out to you?
I think yesterday specifically had to be Darwin more than anyone else. He scored. Although
and nice little free kick goal too.
Yeah,
I don't know if it crossed the line or not, but
it's on the other end of the field. Couldn't really tell if we were being honest from where we are. So kind of word of mouth on all of that. But we talked endlessly last year about the wing challenges that this team had, and at least 45 minutes of one preseason game, it looks like he might be slotted into that general area. Yeah, lots could change. Still, but having somebody who maybe seems natural in that position, somebody who can be able to be a good complement to what I'm just going to presume would be Bill Hart, on the other wing with Emmy in the middle. Promising early returns.
Yeah. Kate, and you were talking about the height. What do you think about Niels in the midfield? He seemed to have a good little touch, dribbled out of some difficult places. Granted, it's against 18-year-olds like we were saying earlier, but thoughts on him so far?
Yeah, I think he looked good. I think he looked good in the way he's not flashy, so he's not a player who your eye is drawn to necessarily in the field. He seems to be a obviously, yes, he wasn't necessarily maybe looking to showboat, so that could be wrong, but he was a player who you didn't necessarily notice because he was doing all the basics very competently, which I think is it can be sometimes a hard player to evaluate because when they're not messing up, but you just trust that they're going to do the right thing. They're going to make the right decision. But he definitely played a little bit. He didn't look like filling in like the Vignals role in sort of the pulling the strings. He sat pretty centrally, I'd say, for most of the half. Played some good balls through. Played one long ball to the far corner, really nice spin on it for Anderson to run onto. But on the whole, wasn't a flashy performance, which I think we could use some steadiness in the central midfield, a solid touch, the ability to turn out of danger, to maintain the ball and make the right pass.
Yeah. I'll open this up to y'all. I'll let y'all talk about it because y'all are smarter than me when it comes to some stuff. But what it seems like from when I was watching the game is like this team was a lot more direct, like just going like midfielder will get the balls, like, all right, we're playing this out to the wing. It wasn't the kind of build-up play that we've seen the past couple of years. It's kind of like what we saw the end part of the season when they started having James in goal. It was just a little bit more directness, not winning too much on the ball. Like, yeah, they'll get on it and kind of slow it down when they need to a whole possession, but it seemed a lot more alert about trying to play it into the wings and into the channels and trying to get in behind. And then, Matt, to your point as well, it seems as if, like, with Hayden and Darwin, like, do you think Darren, by addressing those two areas, is not admitting, but looking at it like, all right, in order for my system to work, in order for this team to get the best out of Emmy, like, he had to go address those two wing areas in the offseason?
I mean, if he doesn't go address those two wing areas, he has to change his formation, right? Because there's one useful player in those two positions over the whole of last year, and he was broken at the end of the year.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, like, yeah, Kirkland was passable as, a late season fill-in, but he was a hustle guy. Like, Sierakowski was fine, but fine isn't really going to be what you want to rely on over the course of an entire season. You need somebody who can actually create something. I think the moral of the story here is if you want to get a contract here, score against us. Because Darwin did that. Anderson, everybody might remember as big old dickhead from Greenville who scored and then came taunted the stands and stole people's beer and threw it on himself last year.
Why would he do that? That was crazy of him.
See previous statement about him. So he's got some debts to pay back to the fans right up front.
Mm-hmm. Like a round. He's got to pay for a round in Section O.
Round and goals, right? He's got some like I said, he's got some debts to pay back, first before he is fully accepted here. But yeah, I mean, guys who can get up and down the wings. Like the other problem last year was slow, right? I don't know if Darwin really fixes that, but Anderson, can move. And again, we had one guy with wheels last year, and he was always hurt.
Yeah.
So between Anderson can move. It looks like Melvin, or I don't know what we're calling him yet.
I don't know either. But Melvin and Joshua look like he got bigger, like broader.
Griffin looked like he got bigger.
I mean, you couldn't get smaller.
Yeah, no, you couldn't.
He couldn't. He was beanpole.
Yeah. As someone who was once a 17, 18-year-old guy, you can pack on some size pretty quick at that age.
Yeah.
Well, you'd think, but our previous winger seemed to disprove that.
I said can, not always do.
Well, I'm glad our center back is the former category and not the latter, because bodes well.
Yeah, so I mean, talk about those four guys there. Obviously, they seem to be key parts. Really, 3 out of the 4. I don't know where Melvin fits at yet because he was kind of part of that second unit.
Mm-hmm.
But it seems like those 3 seem to be key parts, and it honestly seems as if they come in the areas of which we talked about extensively about last year. Of we were missing wingers and we need a ball carrying midfielder. And hopefully Darren, he did address it. Hopefully those guys can contribute and get this team back to where it needs to be.
Mm-hmm. Notably, Bill Hart was not in the squad. He did not appear. So we didn't get a post, and a couple others like Guy Franca also didn't make an appearance. He didn't play at all. I don't even think he warmed up or anything. So there might be a couple guys.
I think they were the only two missing.
Yeah, I think so. Which, I mean, we'll talk about it at the end of the year, but that honestly, it throws out a question like, how do you line this team up? But we'll talk about that later in a different podcast when we get a more settled roster.
Yes. I'll try to make the next preseason, the midday one. Maybe we'll get one more. I'll try to capture that sample size, the starting 11 of that one, and then we'll add it to the final preseason match and shake out the average.
Okay, this is not a podcast about educated and reasoned opinions.
No,
we're here for wild accusations and slander.
Right. That's what we're here for. So the list of returning players, we'll go through those real quick. Of course, you have Dakota Barnathan, Aiden Billhart, Cloudy Kella, Simon Fitch, who was a surprise because most of us wrote that goodbye. We thought he was gone. Also, congrats to him getting married in the offseason. Guy Franca, Griffin Garnett, Beckett Howe, Pablo Hara, Landon Johnson, Josh Kirkland, Chandler O'Dwyer, Maxie Shinfield, James Sneddon, of course, Emiliano Terzaghi, the king himself, and James Vaughn. So those are your list of returning players. I mean, we can talk endlessly about Simon. I think them getting Simon to resign is massive because, I mean, he's the Iron Man. Like, he's been playing. I think he's only missed like 1 or 2 games the last 2 years, and he's arguably the best right back we have had the last 3 years, or probably is that time in League One.
I was going to say our right back for the last 3 years is the best right back we've had the last 3 years.
Yeah,
we're going bold with our calls so far.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. The list of returning players. Are there any players that stand out to you that you were like, all right, this is a good inside of it? I know there was a lot of discussion on like Facebook and Discord about just the list of returning players. There was a little bit of fear of like why our list of returning players are so high, regardless to like some other teams that have just gone like. I think Chattanooga released everyone and brought people back on minimums and stuff like that. So, yeah.
I mean, I don't think the goal is to be compared to Chattanooga. So
no, it's not.
And about anything like in life at all. I think it was fine. Like, yeah, I think you can make the argument. And I imagine the preseason show will go more into it. Like, it's a lot of guys back for a team that was at best mediocre last year. I mean, only 4 senior players added. So far this year. So you got to think they all need to hit. I was a little surprised. Like, essentially everybody from the back line is back. Like, pretty much anybody who contributed at all in the defensive side last season is back, and they were pretty solid by the end of the year. Especially when Chella came on board. Sten started playing in goal. That's when the clean sheets finally started happening last year.
We were getting close. We were getting real close there for a minute.
Yeah, because they were the first 2/3 of the year they were leading goals. Like it was their job. So that was good. I mean, for me, I think the big win, of the returners is getting Bill Hart back.
Yeah.
I think the question there is going to be, after his injury, is he the same Adrian Bellhart we saw for the first half of the season last year? Because some guys bounce back right away, some don't, and that's just going to be the great unknown for a little while.
Yeah. Well, hopefully he does. It'd be great to see how he how he responds to everything. I mean, it seems like the past few off season we've dealt with like some weird injury to a key player. I mean, the last 2 years it was Emmy, and I think Ani. I think Ani was hurt as well. It was just,
He got injured during preseason last season.
yeah.
That was the end of that.
Yeah. Kate Chenier, anyone for y'all? I mean, Chenier, I know we haven't heard from you in a minute, but actually, like anyone on the returning list that stands out to y'all is excited to see.
Well, I think I know it wasn't really a big surprise, but seeing that we have Dak coming back is definitely a reassurance because, and like you said, basically most of the back line, that's very key. Dak and Griffin were great for us and fairly consistent throughout the entire season last year. Having them returning, Griffin, like we talked about, Griffin putting on some weight, and bulking up a little bit is going to just add to his game because he already showed a lot of maturity for his age and a lot of experience for his age. You put on a little weight, put on a little muscle on that, and that makes him even better of a player. Simon Fitch is definitely a big return. Maxey is actually, in my opinion, also a good, safe return. Looking at the fact that, he kind of filled in a lot of places on the field, even like mid-game throughout the game, putting out fires. That'll come in very handy. Now, one thing that is standing out to me is that yes, we still have pretty much a whole back line, but I'm not sure if we have enough depth in our back line because unless Darren is planning to sign 2 or 3 defensive midfielders, that back line is going to be working some hard shit this season because if they don't have protection, they're going to be worn thin.
Well, speaking about that depth, the Richmond Kickers have signed some academy kids. So you got Grafton Call, Andrew Richmond, Nick Sarantakos, which is a killer last name. Hope I was updated this. Oh, Brandon Dubzinks.
Spit it out.
Dubzniki?
No.
I don't know. There you go. Just insert that into what I was trying to say. There you go. Because
I was gonna say this is front office just trying to commit like hate crimes against you by signing guys with all like Polish last names and German last names and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, no, like I'm not getting that. I'm just yeah, like say your name. Now say it again. Now pronounce it. Okay, now I got
Brendan D. My apologies.
There you go.
All right, you're Brendo. Cool.
Brendo.
That's my man. That's my man. But this is the third. Yeah, this is the third class of the Baby Roos. So with that, like obviously we know what this club has been saying. Like they're making an indication of having kids come through, play on the academy team, then hopefully make it up to the first team. We saw like Nick Sarantakos, Richmond, Call, Sneddon, all of them at the Academy Cup. They did fairly well. Got to, if I remember correctly, you got to the semis, right? The Academy Cup, yeah. So did fairly well there. We know what the team is. Like if you've been around, probably Saturday, Kent would tell you most of the plan is now is to spend the bulk of the money on boosting the starting 11, maybe like spots 12 through 15, and then try to fill the rest up with academy kids. Whereas before in the past, it seemed as if they were taking, which is already a small budget, and try to stretch that among 23, 25 players who are professional, and you don't really got anyone that is a game changer per se. You kind of buy like I hate to, I don't want to seem weird, but you're buying bottom of the barrel talent on a bargain price. So maybe some of these academy now, who knows? If we'll see like another Griffin Garnett who starts day one and plays every game, or a James Stead who comes in and changes the tempo. You might see a little bit more back at Howes, Landon Johnson. They get minutes here and there, but yeah, like thoughts on the 2025 class of the Baby Roos?
I like that it's defensive.
Ooh, okay.
Rather, it was striker heavy before, which is great. But those are easy players, I think, to spot. It can sometimes be a little harder to assess. Maybe someone's defense. I mean, Chenier would know better than I am, but it doesn't feel like defense has been the focus of player development necessarily so far in the US.
Yeah, no, it hasn't.
I will push back against that because Griffin Garnett, Beckett Howe.
Okay, Griffin and Beckett.
And what's his name that went down to went to college down in Greenville?
Gabe Cox.
Yeah, Gabe. So you had three defenders. Now it's a little bit more. I would say you have more attackers, maybe not so many midfielders yet. Because like Landon, Sarantakos, Simmons.
I mean, one thing that I think really shot just U.S. soccer development in the foot in general is when the MLS first came out, there was a lot of marketing push to reduce the development of defenders because I think around that time there was a lot of complaints about the Italian league and how defensive it is and that soccer is boring and blah, blah, blah. So MLS was like, we cannot have a defensive league because if we have a defensive league, no one's going to watch it. And for the longest time, even all the way up to the MLS level, defenders is not the defense. The defensive ability has not been big, and a lot of the defensive talent that the U.S. has produced, they've produced it abroad. So because of that, you're seeing and having experience coaching in the Richmond area with the youth, there is a more of a focus on possession, playing out of the back, basically formation and movement off the ball and things of that nature. When defending has always been an issue. I remember I actually had a conversation with the Richmond Strikers goalkeeper director about that, and one of the challenges she had as the goalkeeper coach trying to teach these players how to play goalie, but it's like you can only teach them but so much if they're literally exposed the whole game because the coaches are not focusing on defensive formation, not focusing on what defenders need to do. Now, coaching, I have experienced watching people who are naturally gifted at defending. That's just what they were born to do. And I think players like Griffin Garnett, Dave Cox, even Brandon, you're looking at players who have that natural ability to defend. It's just their bread and butter. It's what they do. So I don't know if we can really hang that success on Richmond United as opposed to those players. So I don't know. Defense has always been an issue.
Just the counter to that. You look around the world. Usually, when guys break in early, they're in attacking positions because it doesn't matter if you make a mistake up there. If you make a mistake in defense, you're screwed. For the most part, like how many teenage first team defenders can you really think of on anywhere for the most part? So and given what these academy spots are, they're always going to be 17, 18-year-olds, and defending's almost always going to be behind at that point. But also, like Ellie was referring to, these positions are almost being used as backfill. Like you're going to want to spend your money on the guys who can get you the goals and the guys who can keep the goals out. So if you can find somebody, great. So yeah, it wouldn't surprise me that maybe more of the quote unquote useful academy guys might be in more attacking positions. But again, I think we've already kind of proven that counter narrative because the most useful academy guys we've had so far are defensive players, and
aka Simon Fitch.
Yeah.
Well, another aspect with that, when you look at that, I think when you look at players like Emmy, when you look at players like Chandler, there's experience there. And I think with defending, it's a natural ability, just you have the natural mindset to do so. But with being a striker, it's more through experience that you learn where to be, learn how to be a fox in the box. You learn through experience how to finish. And I think because of that, you're getting a lot of these young kids. Like, for example, you had we have Landon, who kind of he showed that athletic ability, but the finishing wasn't there. Nick Simmons showed that athletic ability, showed the potential, but actually putting the ball in the back of the net wasn't on the same level as an experienced player. So I think in terms of that, it's good to get some attacking players as understudies coming out of the academy. But for a while,
it broke my heart. Yeah. I was just gonna say it broke my heart to see that Nick chose to go to UVA instead of, earning the league minimum here in Richmond. He decided to go get a college degree.
Damn nerd.
Right. Educated. Nah, man. Wish him all the best up there. Also, Gabe's going to the second year of college at Furman and whatnot. Wishing him the best there. Real quickly, I'll go through the list of players who left. I ain't gonna say greener pastures, but just left. Nathan Awney, he's a free agent. Me personally, I think he might be retiring. We haven't heard anything about that yet, but we know Arthur Boswell has retired. Chris Cole is also a free agent. Gabe Cox is at Furman, as I stated. Joao Gomero, wishing him the best. I think he's still recovering from the ACL injury, but he's a free agent. Noah Wright, he's at William & Mary, going his second year of collegiate soccer there. Zaka Moran, wishing him the best. He's a free agent. Tony Pineda, he just announced his retirement. Also, Ryan Shallow and Ryan Sarikowski as well have retired. Nick Simmons went on to UVA. Justin Suko is a free agent, and Neil Vignoles is rumored to be signing with Spokane. Out of the list that we have there, real quick, we'll kind of just do this rapid fire. Is there anyone who you're going to miss? I'm going to take Neil Vignoles off the table because we'll probably all say Neil. But is there anyone else on that list who you're going to be like, I kind of wish they were around the squad this year?
For me, there's two. For me, Joao and Nathan Arnold.
Okay.
I think Gomero, he gave us some flair. He gave us that life in the midfield sometimes that sometimes you need to be able to pick up a game and maybe turn things around, and not on a structural side, but more so on just doing something to pick up the crowd. Yeah. Nathan Awney, we know how things were with him in the back with Dak a couple years ago. Like, they were solid back there, and Nathan Awney was a very solid defender. And it was really unfortunate that he missed the most of last season with injury. I'm going to miss him too. And an honorable mention for me would be Zaka, kind of just the bully in the midfield that he was. I'm hoping that we can find a player like that who can be the enforcer, who can be our, bargain goodwill version of N'Golo Kante is kind of.
Hey, James was trying to do it yesterday. He started a fight.
He picked up a yellow
He did.
in a preseason match against Longwood.
But I just want hopefully we can find a defensive midfielder who can do all of those things without picking up so many yellow cards. Still
It's in the
do the
Kickers
job.
DNA. It's written into the center defensive base contract. You don't score, son. You pick up 6 yellows and be in the borderline of being suspended for a game. Kate, Matt, my fault. Pass on to y'all.
I wouldn't say so because we had some serious bulldogs in the midfield in the past who haven't been yellow card collectors. When you look at Luke Mercoloni, you look at Mike Callahan for a brief time after Luke left.
That's like 10 plus years ago. Also, Callie was absolutely a yellow magnet.
He didn't pick up that many. It wasn't like almost guaranteed to pick up a yellow.
All right. So avoid us from getting sidetracked. I'm gonna just say, I think Nick Simmons. I'm gonna miss him because I feel like if he would have stayed around for a second, I would have definitely have outside of Jamaican roots. Love to see him learn another year of the Emmy, being like fully with the first team. And then Joel Gomero. He was a little spark plug at moments where the team wasn't really getting it. He was scoring. I remember the goal he scored in Charlotte, creating some dangerous chances, and it seemed like he was a good squad player there. Matt, Kate, who y'all have?
I completely agree with Joao for his looking at our current midfield structure. I wouldn't say we've had a one-to-one replacement with some creative playmaking. Similar with Zako, just mentioning in terms of depth. Not to say and to that end, I also was going to say, Ani, it felt like a crazy drop-off from what we'd seen before, and we've already been burned when it comes to lack of depth at center back, so it's really disappointing how that went, just because we saw how well he worked with Dak when both of them were playing at their best. So just see how quickly it dropped off. You do have to wonder what if there was some underlying issue there that might have been able to be resolved. Because that was a really steep cliff. But the other player, just in terms of the central of the field, is Justin Suko. Obviously, he scored one useful goal. Which we very much appreciate him for. But he was a player who could kind of be stuck in anywhere. And again, I think we've just seen what happens when you get very, very light in certain positions and you don't have adequate backup. And he was a player who was able to kind of slot in a few different places. Maybe he wasn't necessarily going to change the game in those places, but he was competent. And I guess we'll see how where backup comes in different positions, because it does feel like a slim squad compared with so few additions. And speaking as someone as a Tottenham Hotspur supporter who has seen how injuries can seem to snowball completely out of control, you just and seeing in 2023 how injuries stacking up in one particular position can snowball out of control. He was a player who we could kind of do the job in a couple different places on the field, and so we'll see how the squad building looks at the end of this preseason and how well we're able to patch up holes as they appear.
Yeah. Just praying for health.
Yeah, very much.
Don't worry. I think no matter how bad it gets, I don't think the Kickers are going to go to 15th place. So.
Well, yeah, because the league stops at 14. Is that it? We got 14 slots. We're safe from.
Always helps me explain the jokes.
Well, then we won't get relegated either, so I guess we're safe from that as well.
For me, I think Zaka's the only one that had anything to actually give to this team anymore. Everybody else can leave. We're not losing anything. Okay, Joao has one good week a year, and he's hurt the rest of the time. Nice guy. Don't need to carry him if he's only going to be good for 1 week out of 6 months.
Scored one meaningful goal. Where would we be without that goal?
Same place we are right now.
Outside the playoffs.
Like I said, he had the season before. He had that, there's goals against North Carolina, then followed up with whoever we were playing at home. Like a few days later, didn't do anything else all year.
Yeah.
So
He also didn't play very much. He wasn't first choice, so he wasn't necessarily getting the minutes that the other players.
And if he couldn't get into that midfield, either because he's broken all the time or he's not as good as people want to think he is.
Oh, we don't have Vinyals either, and that was the player who was.
I ain't gonna lie, I'm low key shocked. None of us said Neil. I'm low key shocked.
You said we couldn't
You said
say him.
you couldn't. You said we weren't allowed to.
Oh, that's right. My fault. Forgot that old rule. That's the teacher in me. Just exact that. I know we all would have said Neil. Okay, my bad.
But even with Zaka, like he was like at least a step and a half, slower last year than he, was previously. So I think they wanted to keep him around as like a reserve midfielder, and he was willing to do that. Okay, maybe, but that's kind of a position where you can probably find a cheaper guy somewhere. So it's taking the sentiment out, like, the time realty maybe could have been there. Doesn't ignore the fact that there's massive question marks of, okay, what's the midfield going to look like this year? But everybody else in the conversation, they whatever, not missing them.
Well, yeah. So that's your whole list of the off-season moves. I mean, obviously going to be some new moves. We'll drop it here. The Kickers are going to make a signing. There's a new guy coming from VCU, Jonathan Kanagwa. Played VCU, just graduated from VCU, played in the midfield. We were at the preseason game yesterday. He was playing left back in the second half. So he'd be a new signing. So that pushes us up to 5 signings so far? Now, where he slots into, where he plays, I don't know. But yeah, y'all. Other thing we got to talk about is, I don't want to forget about it, we have a new logo. New logo. Now, we all have our thoughts and opinions on it. I will say this. If I ever design something, I'm not showing it to the Red Army because y'all will tear it apart and make whoever decided feel horrible about it. But yeah, what's your thoughts on the new logo so far? What y'all think about it? Me personally, I like it a lot. I think it's nice, it's clean.
I am of the belief that there are a lot of hyper trendy designs in the team logo industry, especially as new teams are popping up left and right, in our league and beyond. And I think a lot of them will not age very well. I think a lot of them are very, very, very trendy to what currently is seen as a cool logo.
Call them out.
Spokane.
And I
Westchester.
think a lot of them will be going through their own refreshes in 10 years because their logos will look very outdated and they will look really specific to sort of this post-pandemic graphic design trend. So I don't think there's from a longevity perspective, I think there's not a lot wrong in going towards a logo that reads more timeless, that could have been developed kind of at any point, just because then you're not running into the issue of just refreshing your brand every 10 years on a schedule because it looks outdated every 10 years. Yeah. So I think it's a smarter move than refreshing it to something more in line with these hyper stylized crests that we're seeing popping up that I think are just going to look very chunky and overdone 10 or 15 years from now.
Yeah, fair. Shanir, Matt, what's your thoughts on it?
I don't know. I'm getting the most recent change of New England Revolution vibes from this one. And when I saw the new New England Revolution logo a couple years ago, I was like, bring the old one back. And I don't know. For me, I don't know. It just seems a little late. I know this is gonna sound weird, but Adult Swim cartoony to me. Um,
I need to know
I
how
don't know,
you
just
got
the
Adult
look.
Swim out of that.
I don't know, just some of those weird, obscure, abstract, goofy adult cartoons that you see on Adult Swim on Cartoon Network late at night, and it just gives off that vibe. I don't know if I like it. It might grow on me. I can't tell you. I'm not going to sit here and say, "Oh my goodness, I hate it." But I do understand what you're saying, Kate. With I'm glad they didn't go the "let's do what's in" route. Um, and I'm glad they didn't go that route. This is a very timeless look, but I guess
I'm not laughing at you,
with
Shanae. I'm just
well, I'm saying that with what the logo changed to what we had before made sense because everyone was realizing you can't have the whole name of your club in the logo. So that was what the Richmond Kickers was before. So now with that special looking K that wasn't a font, I think that was a little more iconic. There wasn't it wasn't I can go on Microsoft Word and find the font they use to make that logo. Like that's the previous logo was unique in that way. And I I think this one there is not as much in terms of uniqueness.
I feel like I must be an alien in like U.S. soccer fan circles because I just do not care about logos or crests or any of this. And all anybody like online ever wants to do is like, "Ooh, let's come up with artwork for all this. Let's come up with kit mock-ups." And who cares? Like, it's fine. The other one was fine. Like, there's some things I like better about this one. There's things I like better about the old one. Like, I think the best thing that the other one had going for it was a different shape than everybody else used. Like, nobody else was really using a pentagon, so it stood out. This
Pinwheel
one,
flippers, baby. R.I.P.
yeah, I mean, those were stupid, but whatever. Like, but again, who cares? Like, are you really rooting more for a team or less for a team because of a logo?
Hey,
If
if you see our DMs, there's some people out there that's like, I want my money back. I'm like, all right, that's cool. We don't charge you for anything. But all right.
those people are idiots who weren't going to really stick around anyway. They're looking for a way out as it is. So
Yeah.
forget them.
I do wonder
To be
if.
honest with
Go ahead, Shannon.
to be honest with you, I do I'm it's not going to change my opinion of the Kickers as a whole. I can say I had the same qualms with the New England Revolution logo when they changed that, but I'm still that's born and bred. That's where I was born. That's where I was raised. So I'll always have they'll always have a place in my heart, and nothing has changed because of that. Same thing with
Yeah.
Manchester United. I'm not a big fan of the new logo, but that's my club. Not it doesn't really change much, but if you want to know, that's how I feel about it.
I will say there is one thing I greatly dislike, and that's what's up on the screen right now. Any team that ever puts out stupid ass crest explainers, it's the dumbest thing ever. Who is
Yes.
actually looking at this and thinking,
Hey,
"Oh,
you respect the explainer, such as
I
the
do not
city is
respect
given
the
a place
explainer.
of providence at the top of the crest."
I disrespect any of these.
Rob,
You made
the
it because you think
Kicker
it
of
looks nice with
Richmond.
that."
But man, the interlocking arcade moniker represents a strong connection between the club and community.
Yeah,
But
I'm sure.
don't forget, making our heritage and longevity, the 93 represents our final year. Which I just want to say this. Without this podcast, they would not have put that 93 on there. I am claiming that as fact. Just putting that out there. And then this is the one that makes me laugh, and this is why I was starting laughing earlier. The flowing legs of the Indian lion. arcade monogram represents the falls of the James River that defined the city settlement.
I think they had that on the Ivy Crest somewhere too.
Like, okay. All
I mean,
right.
is anybody looking at this and saying like, "Oh man, you know what it is about this? It's that last little turn of the R and the K. It really reminds me of going out, to Belle Isle or
Tony
Pasture
Pasture.
and all this. And yeah, that's what I got to get some gear now because of those little.
This is
design
this
elements.
is the legacy of McKinsey and all the consultants of the world getting charged $10 billion to take the serifs off a font. All of a sudden, everything has to have an essay attached to justify the exorbitant fees that these companies are charging.
How about we designed the letters this way because we think it looks cool.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, that's what I just wanted them to do. Be like, yeah, I put it together. Just like, yeah, it fit.
Yeah, it looks sick.
Yeah. But I will say this, though. I do like the fact that they are going back to the old school colors, the red and navy, like the 95 Cup colors. And we get it. Like, this is the 30th anniversary of the U.S. Open Cup, all that stuff. They're celebrating that. But it is kind of cool to see, like, them going back to those old school colors. It kind of makes me think, like, how is this jersey going to be designed, which we'll get at the end of the month. But, yeah, it was still funny to read the explainer.
If they really want to bring it with bringing the blue back in some way, let's not see a white secondary shirt this year. Let's see blue or a compromise, blue and white stripes.
That would work.
I think you'll get a white regardless.
Reverse Waldo.
It's always the most boring. It's not just the Kickers; it's everybody. The most boring, generic, garbage, stuff, for your non-primary. But
now, I'm just saying, if the Kickers want to, I hope it pulls up, because if they can pull out this jersey, let me see if it pulls up. Oh, go away. This one, if they can pull out this kit, I want that. It's that black and white one. No,
the picture I have in my mind is really good, so I agree.
It's the black and white one. It's like the 99 home jersey. Away jersey.
The Dayro one.
Yes, this one.
I know what picture you're talking about.
Yes, I want this back.
That would be some fire if it came back.
To anyone not watching the YouTube stream, there is nothing on the screen right now.
Yeah.
Elliot keeps saying this one. There is nothing on the screen.
This one.
Now we're getting something on the screen.
I finally fixed it. Okay. But yeah, this one. If you're not watching the YouTube stream, make sure you go watch the YouTube stream. Go like, share, and subscribe. But yeah, this jersey. This is beautiful. I've seen this jersey in person once.
We would make Julian really, really happy if we borrowed off.
About that one. I mean, you could bring that back, but instead replace the black with the navy blue, and there you go.
Yeah, I just want that one back. I just want that jersey back. That one looks nice. Now, if I can find some way how to buy it, perfect. That would be amazing. But that's the hard thing about that kind of stuff. But yeah,
I was gonna say on that topic, yeah. I love the fact earlier today that League One put out a top 10, Emmy goal clip.
Oh yeah, I did see that.
I was also harmed by seeing the iced out kit in a couple of those and how horrific those things were.
You know what the thing is? In like 15 years, that jersey is going to be a collector's item, and it's just going to be because it was arguably the worst jersey of the year. Like I understand the concept, but it was bad. That whole year.
This is what happens when you try to make your jersey streetwear instead of an actual jersey that people are wearing on a soccer field where the pixels are 144.
But I will say that the Arsenal knockoffs, they held up.
Yeah. But I mean, yeah, that jersey just didn't do any favors. Question: do y'all have a favorite jerseys? I mean, since we've been in League One, do y'all have a favorite jersey?
Ooh.
I think the black.
Yeah.
The black with the red.
Yeah.
You talking about last year's third kit?
The midnight kit.
The midnight red one?
Or are you talking about like
I like that jersey, but I hate the fact that was our home jersey.
Mm.
Yeah,
because that was
that
red.
that should have been a third. That's definitely a third kit look. And I
Yo,
think for the most part, a lot of times you're gonna get the third kit be probably a lot of times the coolest looking one because it's the one that's worn more rarely. I've noticed that across the board because I remember when Dortmund came out with the all black kit, I was like, oh, that thing's sexy. And you know things like that. So I think you're gonna get the third kit be very unique and and pull in a different direction.
yeah, I would say my personal favorite one is the green one because that was a nice jersey, and then where is it? I just saw it. The grayed out cookie one, that was another dope one as well.
Yeah. I've got two that come to mind. One, you can take those green pictures down because that guy. So the two I would go with are the 2022 second one, the white ones with the blue sleeves and blue shorts.
Oh yeah, those are solid.
Yeah,
see, that's where
very classic
a white jersey with even just a splash of some colors can actually work.
Yeah.
Right. And then I really like the 2020 red one. I think it was the year with like the stone.
Is that like the bottle pop one?
No, it's all red. Like,
oh no, I'm thinking about the away jersey. It was like white and red and layered. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, like got thicker stripes as one. Like, no, I'm just talking about like the straight up red one. Like I don't know, something about that, like the way that shade of red fit into that jersey. Like I don't know,
Yeah,
it worked for me.
Okay. Maybe we can do a poll on this.
I'm the hot take, like Chenier feels towards logos, and that it won't change his opinion on the team. But
I don't know. We're still supporting the team through some.
No, I'm just
stuff.
pro. I hate, honestly, my biggest pet peeve from jerseys is changing the primary in an entirely different direction every season. I'm of the belief that your primary jersey should look pretty much the same every single season. That's the kit you're wearing the most. That's part of your identity as a team. If you are changing what that looks like season after season, you're diluting anyone's ability to turn on the TV and know who's playing immediately, even in a market this small.
Yeah.
So I hate the fact that the primary jersey has looked so different season after season for the past 4 years.
Well, I mean, the one key fact to that is it's always been red. It's always been red. Outside of 1 year, when they try to gaslight us, it said midnight red was red.
No, and the green. I mean, the green one was throwback,
but the green one, yeah, that's a fine.
That should have not been unfortunately, in my opinion, that should, even if you're doing a retro thing, changing your brand identity.
You want to go back to green? Okay.
Yeah, you do something interesting on the third jersey. You do it, but like your primary jersey should always look pretty much the same. The only time it really should change is if you change shirt sponsors altogether. But like some of the most iconic jerseys you can think of are the ones that always have the exact same features to them. And the most hated jerseys are when teams do some sort of crazy departure off of their standard kit. So I'm just very anti radical change season after season. Experimenting with your primary jersey in any capacity should be the same.
I want my jersey how I want my jersey.
I mean, I was just to kind of enforce your point, Kate. Like Elliot, if 1 year, you turn on the World Cup and Brazil's not wearing yellow or blue and they're wearing like orange, you'd be like, what the heck is going on? You know what I mean? It's like it's
like the United States is wearing neon yellow.
Why is Neymar playing?
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah,
that was wild.
Okay, so like and you see that's not particularly okay. So you imagine any of the old boy MLS clubs, your DC United, your New England Revolution, LA Galaxy, the originals. If they had drastically changed their kit, you turn on the TV, you're like, who's playing? Who's playing against DC United? Who's playing against Houston Dynamo? I don't recognize this team. And then it's only like 30 minutes in, you recognize one player. You're like, oh, it isn't that team? It's not. I'm sorry, marketing wise, it doesn't make sense. That's why, in terms, you look at the rest of the world, there isn't a big departure from the original, at least the big part look of the club. Manchester United will always wear red. Manchester City will always wear light blue. You know, and it, for the first kit.
Yeah. That's my most old-headed take. That's why Madison. Honestly, another reason why I'm very displeased with that club is turning jerseys. Which, yes, they can be fun. They can be a place for experimentation, but turning it into something it's not the point of your kit. Is to for them to be.
Portland is giving them a run for their money. Okay, Portland is coming for him. Portland's giving them a run for their money.
Yeah, that's not the point of jerseys. They're for an identity. They're for your club to. Like, it's just.
It don't matter when you're selling your jersey to the next influencer.
I'm tired of it.
You know, you're passing out your jersey to the next influencer. It doesn't matter. But hopefully by the next time we record, we'll have the jersey. We'll have a little bit more to talk about. We'll go through our full preseason at that point as well. But guys, it's good. We're back. We're in preseason form ourselves. I'm still gonna stumble over names. That's not gonna change. But yeah. Anything else before we wrap up the show?
Yeah, we've started to see some of the Ivy announcements coming back, mostly returners from last year. One new name, also a Richmond girl. I don't remember her name off the top of my head. But yeah, so she's down at Auburn. Went to Monacan.
Scores goals.
What a concept, right?
Important question. I wasn't able to catch any of these returning, but are the Flamia sisters returning?
No announcement yet.
So we'll know.
Well, I'll keep my fingers crossed.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully, by the next time we record, we'll know.
Still plenty of time there.
Yeah, we've been hearing that. Yeah, we should get the home opener date around the middle of the month, and the full schedule by the end of February, early March, which is great. That's earlier than it was last year. And it looks like there shouldn't be any more away games up north to Pennsylvania. It'll be specifically down here in the Mid-Atlantic with some teams joining in Virginia Beach, Annapolis. So a little bit of a division realignment. So hopefully that means that there's maybe some more away days that could happen because we had a couple fun ones last year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, folks, as always, we just want to say thank you for taking the time of your day for listening to our show. Because without you, we wouldn't do this, and we couldn't do this, and we don't get paid enough to do this for free. Yeah. So we look forward to talking to y'all in the future. We'll probably have a lot more to talk about, but for now, for Matt, for Kate Fishinaire, and myself. Also, shout out to Gabe. He's a full dad now. You can fully. From now on, we are calling him Father Gabe. That is his name. It is Father Gabe. And also shout out to Alex for joining us and whatnot. He has amazing ring content. But with all that being said, we will holler at you guys next time. Be easy and be safe. And as always, up the Roos.